In today's video, we will unravel a new era in space travel. Apollo 17, December 19, 1972. The last time a man ever reached the surface of the moon. Half a century later, Apollo's twin Artemis has been born in hopes of starting an era of better lunar exploration and has promised to be one step ahead of its twin's success. But how will Artemis lay the foundation for the next generation of space travel? 50 years ago, when astronaut Eugene Cernan left the last footprint on the lunar surface, the first handheld scientific calculator was released. Today, we possess more computing power than ever, solving equations in a matter of seconds. With the greatest minds collaborating, architecting, and safely guiding our astronauts to the moon and back for the next milestone of humanity, our next step is unfolding the truths beyond our planet. Yes, we are going back to the moon. Are you ready for liftoff? Let's take a look at the history of the Artemis program. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, began planning Artemis 1 in 2012, which was originally named Exploration Mission 1. This mission partly consisted of the inaugural Space Launch System, or SLS, which NASA has been calling their most powerful rocket ever made. Along with the Orion Multi-Purpose Crew Vehicle, which will safely accommodate our astronauts and will be their home for the missions. The spacecraft is equipped with the latest technology to provide them a safe environment to ensure a smooth touchdown on the lunar surface and a safe return to planet Earth. Artemis will be a series of missions that will enable our astronauts to safely walk again on the moon, just like the Apollo in the 70s, but even better. Artemis aimed to carry humanity not just to the moon, but also to Mars, which we will start inhabiting in the next few years. And this is thanks to NASA's latest powerful rocket, the SLS. How strong and powerful is the Space Launch System? The Space Launch System, or the SLS, is the new rocket designed by NASA, and it will be first tested in the Artemis missions over the next few years. If we are solely looking at the propulsive power, SLS is indeed the most powerful rocket NASA has ever made. This monster will generate over 39 meganewtons of thrust on launch, or 8.8 million pounds of force, making it 15% stronger than the Saturn V, the rocket used in the Apollo missions. NASA's SLS is also as tall as a 29-story building, at 322 feet, 98 meters, making it taller than the Statue of Liberty. And it weighs over 30 tons, which it requires to carry over 530,000 gallons of chilled liquid hydrogen and 196,000 gallons of liquid oxygen as fuel, which will be combusted in the first 8.5 minutes to reach orbit. The SLS will be powered by 4 RS-25 engines, designed and manufactured in America by Rocketdyne. Each engine has a maximum thrust of 510,000 pounds, 210,000 kilograms, or over 12 million horsepower. The RS-25 engine has helped NASA for 3 decades, and it's been tested for over 135 space missions, making it the most suitable engine for the magnificent Space Launch System rocket. Alongside the RS-25 engine will be 2 solid rocket boosters, which will propel almost 80% of the rocket's thrust for the first 2 minutes of ascent. This modern mega rocket that promises to surpass the Saturn V costs an astounding $4.1 billion per launch, and it will carry the Orion Spacecraft, the next spacecraft that will land on the moon. The Orion Spacecraft, how we will travel to the moon and beyond. The Orion Multi-Purpose Crew Vehicle is built to bring humans further than we have ever reached before. It is the vehicle that will be the home of the astronauts until they land on the moon, and soon after, the planet Mars. It was crafted by NASA and prime contractor Lockheed Martin, and it promises to be the only spacecraft capable of deep space flight, providing the safest return to Earth. The Orion spacecraft required a meticulous building process to ensure the safety of our astronauts. Mechanics and engineers put together a mind-blowing 355,000 individual parts to build the 16 feet 5 meters Orion that will carry up to 4 astronauts to the lunar surface for a maximum of 21 days. One of its safety options is the new and upgraded Launch Abort system, which is designed to carry out the astronauts in times of emergency during launch or while in space, and secure them from any other hazards that they might face in their missions. 3 solid rocket motors can activate in a matter of milliseconds, accelerating from 0 to 800 kilometers per hour, 500 miles per hour, in 2 seconds, which is nearly 6 times the average speed of a roller coaster. That will propel the entire crew away from the rocket in case of any malfunction. Alongside the launch abort system, we have the largest heat shield of its kind that can endure almost 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit or 2,760 degrees Celsius, almost half the temperature of the Sun, for safe re-entry back to the atmosphere of the Earth. Lastly, the Orion Crew Module, or the capsule, is the pressurized part of the Orion spacecraft where the 4 astronauts live for the duration of the mission. It is equipped with the latest technology and provides a safe habitat for launch, on-orbit operations, landing, and recovery. It also has environmental control and life support systems that will keep the crew healthy and comfortable on long missions. Additionally, it provides a built-in exercise device that provides both aerobic and strength training. This crew module will serve as home for the astronauts and is about to be tested in the first of the 3 confirmed Artemis missions. Artemis 1 is an unmanned space mission that will serve as testing grounds for both the SLS and the Orion spacecraft. Artemis 1, Artemis 2, and Artemis 3. NASA confirmed 3 Artemis missions that will probably commence in 2022, 2024, and 2025, with Artemis 1 as the initial unmanned mission that will lay the foundations for the next Artemis missions and be vital for the progress of the program for the next following years. Artemis 1 is the first mission in the Artemis program, and it is an uncrewed mission around the Moon that will serve as practice for future missions to Mars. It will be the first step towards making manned missions possible once again for the first time in over 50 years, and walking on Martian soil for the very first time in the history of humanity. The Orion Capsule is expected to launch this year as part of the Artemis 1 mission and will orbit the Moon for 42 days before returning back to the Earth. It will fly a total of 450,000 kilometers, 280,000 miles, the farthest a human spacecraft has ever flown. On its way to the Moon, small data satellites will be launched to gather more information for the scientists at NASA and use this as a baseline for the next mission that will be manned and boarded by the next moonwalkers. This mission will also test the capabilities of the newly built mega rocket SLS and the safety of the Orion that has been highly advertised by NASA as the only spacecraft that can carry astronauts from the Moon and beyond. Artemis 1 will launch from Launch Complex 39B at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida in the hopes of pushing the next mission earlier than expected. Artemis 2 will be the succeeding mission of the Artemis program and will be its first manned mission to the Moon. It will serve as the next test flight for the program and will try to orbit the Moon for 21 days. It will be a momentous test for the Orion spacecraft as well as the newly inserted technology within, including its launch abort system and its strong heat shield. Artemis 2 is planned to launch in 2024 and plays a major role in conducting the final mission to the Moon. It will pave the way for the commencement of Artemis 3, the first Luna walk mission since 1972. Yes, we said it before. We are really going to the Moon. Artemis 3 will conclude the first phase of the Artemis program, a manned mission to the surface of the Moon. It will feature the first woman and the first Canadian to ever step foot on the lunar surface, making history and bringing us one step closer to our goal of walking on Martian soil. NASA plans to land the Artemis 3 mission on the Moon's south polar region and intends to stay at the surface for almost a week, gathering data and performing a variety of scientific observations, including sampling lunar water. The landing will also include a rover that will help them navigate and perform excursions on the Moon's surface. The rover can reach up to 15 kilometers from the landing spot. Artemis 3 is set to be launched in 2025. It will mark a new beginning in the history of space exploration.